Today we're going through the process of setting up a new rifle, and then we're going to carry it to the range and fire our first shots. So we're literally taking it from the box to the field today. But we've got a little work to do before we take it to the field. I had planned on setting this rifle up last week and then us going to the range last weekend and getting it zeroed and just seeing how it was going to shoot and getting ready for deer season. But my employer had other plans for me. I ended up having to work a lot of overtime last week, had to work last weekend. Okay, so I'm behind, and I'm already behind for getting ready for deer season this year. So what we're going to do with this rifle, we're going to do just a simple, straightforward setup on this rifle. Nothing complicated here, no break-in, which I normally do. All right, we're just going to stick with the basics. And the very first thing I'm going to start with on any new-to-me rifle, brand new, used, whatever, is cleaning the bore. I get a lot of questions about cleaning a rifle bore, so I thought it would be good just to go through a basic bore cleaning, starting with a bronze brush and a 1 1/4 inch cotton patch cut down so that it's not too tight in the bore, and then wrap it around the brush so that the wire holds the patch in place. And you can change how much you cut off on the patch to get a tighter or looser fit, just depending on what you need for a particular bore. Then add Hoppy's number 9. Remove the brush, replace the patch with a clean one, add more Hoppy's, and repeat until the patch comes out clean. This one took about 8 passes. And that squeaking sound from the patch going through the bore is a really good sign. I have no idea why, but it just seems like rifles that make that squeaking sound when I'm cleaning them always shoot great. To finish it off, I switched to a 4 caliber Jag with a 1 1/2 inch round dry cotton patch just to clean out the Hoppy's. And I'll run dry patches through until they come out clean and bone dry. And that bore is clean. This next part is not necessary, but it's definitely something good to do. All right, on this particular rifle, I noticed just a little bit of dried up grease in the magazine here. What did I want to remember? This rifle hadn't been used in 30 years. It's probably been sitting in a safe somewhere or on a gun rack. Okay, so this rifle probably hasn't been cleaned in 30 years, and it definitely is due for a good cleaning at this point. And it's not a bad idea with any rifle, be it an old family hand-me-down or brand new whatever, to go ahead and just take the barrel and action out of the stock and just go over everything and make sure it's in good shape. We always want to make sure that we have the tools needed to disassemble our firearms for cleaning. And for this rifle, it means having the proper size screwdriver blade for a really good fit in these slotted screws. And it needs to be a hollow ground screwdriver for screws. For an action stuck in a stock, a little tap on something soft on a solid surface usually does the trick. A microfiber towel with a little gun oil works great for really dirty places that you can't see. For the visible places on a nicely blued rifle, I always use a soft, pure cotton cloth. This is the perfect time to go ahead and wipe down the magazine box, follower spring, and the back of the floor plate. And now for the hard to get to places on the action and underside of the barrel. For these older Winchester Model 70s, the front action screw is by far the most important and doing the majority of the work holding the action tight to the stock. The middle and rear action screws, these are just to hold the trigger guard on, and they should be snug but not tight, and this is why Winchester puts Loctite on the rear action screw, so that it'll stay in place and not come out even though it's not tight. And now we're ready for the scope. And I could have done all of that after I mounted the scope. It's just so much easier to clean a rifle without the scope in the way. It's good to use mineral spirits or alcohol to remove any oil or impurities from the receiver and bases where the two meet. For my bases, I'm using the Warren Maxima bases, and these have become my favorite bases by far. Careful not to cross the thread on these fine threaded bolts. I'm using loophole weaver style rings for this rifle, and that's mainly because these were the only low rings I could find. One of the big advantages of a 3x9x40 scope and a slim profile barrel is I can use low rings and keep the scope low on the receiver for a good cheek weld on the stock. But low rings are starting to become difficult to find now. Now to snug up the ring slightly and then adjust the scope, starting with the distance from my eye. And I always want the scope as far away as possible in a standing position, and this keeps the scope from being too close to my eye in a sitting or prone position. And I finish off with the fine tuning, starting by getting the vertical crosshair plumb. And it's okay to verify with levels, but with a little practice you'll find they're not necessary. And finally, to make sure the gap is even on the rings on each side, and thumbnails make a great feeler gauge for that. This rifle is ready for the range. Okay, now the question is, when are we going to get to the range? And my plan was to come out here this evening. This is Thursday evening after work for me. Okay, come out here this evening, do everything we just did, set up the rifle, get it ready to go. And then I took a vacation day for tomorrow and Friday. And then I was going to be at the range at daylight. And so we could see how this rifle's going to shoot. And I was going to have that as part of this video. I want to know how it shoots, and I'm guessing quite a few of you do too. Okay, the problem is it's late. A lot later than I'd want it to be. Okay, and I took a vacation day for tomorrow, but it wasn't so I could go to the range shooting, and it wasn't for a vacation. I got to put shooting on the roof for the house tomorrow. That's what that was for. Okay, so I'm not about to go try to hit the bed now, get a few hours sleep, be at the range at daylight, and then go shoot the roof of a house. So right now, the earliest I'm going to be able to get to the range is going to be Sunday afternoon after church. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do that. Film it. That'll be out the next Sunday. Okay, and the reason I'm explaining all of this, okay, again, this purpose of this series is to hopefully help someone out that this is their first year hunting and they're just learning the ropes. Okay, and all they know for whatever reason is they're going hunting on this day. Somebody invited them, or they just decided they're hunting, or whatever, because we do need to get more people hunting, especially young people. Okay, stuff comes up. It can be tough getting ready for deer season if we don't have everything in place so that we've got time to do all of this ahead of time. All right. In other words, building a house, that's not a good thing to do at the beginning of deer season. It makes it tough. Okay, and getting that roof on, that's kind of a priority at the moment. I'm not going to sleep good till it's on. Okay, so that's the plan right now. And that's what I'm doing. I'm juggling priorities right now. And when we've got a lot going on, that's what the beginning of hunting season can be, juggling priorities. And I wasn't expecting to work a lot of overtime last week. I wasn't expecting to work last weekend. I was expecting to have all this done, and us already had been to the range. Like I said before, sometimes life gets in the way of living. Okay, so this is my attempt to juggle all the things that are being thrown at me right now. Okay, now, we're going to get to the range soon. God bless and have a great evening.